Hello and welcome to KroniK's Icy Jump tutorials. In this small one, I'm going to go over how to make a violet swirly loop. I'm not going to do any compiling or anything. I'm just going to show you kind of how to use the surface generator to make a violet swirly loop. So normally, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the surface generators and go to the corkscrew generator. Normally what you use a corkscrew for is to be on the inside of this here with, you'd be running along the top of it. In this case, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be inside a loop that's in this surface here, but we're going to turn the whole corkscrew kind of sideways on its end in order to get that kind of an effect. So I have this pre-set up kind of sort of to show you. The inner radius is going to be how big, like the similar to like an amber cylindro loop. It'd basically be how big the tube is. Okay, and then the outer radius you just want to be 8 bigger than your inner radius. Your altitude, that is going to be how, like, laterally how much distance you're going to go inside the loop. So this is going to be like a really, really long, wide loop, would be really hard to stay inside of. Let's try like, see here, how wide. Oh yeah, and then this is the thickness of like how wide these are going to be. So let me see here. Let's make an attitude of 128. See what that does. That might not be enough. I'm going to try 256. That should be plenty. Actually, no, 128 should be just fine. Okay, so I'm going to generate normal brushes. Yes. Okay, and then we want to generate ramp shingles, and the top shingle triangular. This is going to be basically, it's exactly the way he explains it, but use the top shingle triangular ramp shingles. Okay, now if we import our corkscrew, you're kind of going to see what I'm talking about here. We've got, this is only a quarter of it, but if I conk it, it kind of makes it a little more visible. But what we're going to want to do is we're going to rotate it in the y-axis so that now it becomes the start of a loop. Um, and actually, I'm going to undo that because I need to import the shingles. Those ones are going to be player clip. Before you do this, you do have to make sure that your angle is, because it'll give you a value for the angle. Let me see here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first, a quick second, hide these because you have to select the inside and the outside because it creates separate brushes. And then I'm going to unhide those. I'm going to select those as well. Okay, so we're going to rotate this on our y-axis to set it up like this. But if you notice, here I guess I'll explain this in a minute. First thing we want to do here, you can kind of see this. I'm going to create a copy, rotate it in the x-axis direction, basically set it up just in the right spot, and as you can tell, it needs to be moved over. There we go. Then I need to copy it again, rotate it. Oh, too far. Okay. I think I want to move it that way, but I'm not not sure. Yes, that's where I want to move it. Okay, and then do it again. And I'm honestly not sure if I got a big enough angle value. I got just enough to make one that touches right there. So basically there you go. You have a violet swirly loop. You can kind of see that. Um, Now, one thing I'd like to show you is basically how to change the parameters of this. First thing, um, if you were to go in here, obviously the radius is going to change the size of the loop. So if we're in radiant and we look at it from this side, it's going to make this circle bigger or smaller, depending on what you do with it. Okay, the altitude, that's going to change basically how wide the loop is. So if we go in here and we look at it like this from top down, you see how it starts off over here, it gets over here. If you give it a bigger value, it would start over here and end up over here. If you give it a negative value, it would start here and end up over here. So to enter in a loop, differently from a different direction, it would change the direction of the loop. And then let me see here. And then the outer thickness and inner thickness, you always want these two to be the same, but this changes how thick the this is. So that changes this to be like a thinner piece. So I'm going to mess with kind of all of them at the same time just to give you an idea. So if I make this 128, make this 128, I'm going to make this negative 256. And I'm going to leave the radius because you guys probably understand how that works. And I'm going to generate normal brushes. Corkscrew, yes. And then triangular ramp brushes. Yes. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to make it right here kind of alongside this whole thing. So I'm going to move this guy out of the way. Okay, and then, so I'm going to import my corkscrew. Again, you have to rotate it once on the y-axis. As you can see, it's 128 wide, like I set up here for this here. The inner thickness and outer thickness, it's 128. So it's really thin. Actually, I just realized before I rotate it, I need to import shingles. Okay, so, oops. My shingles are going to be player clip and hidden. Select all of this. I think I got everything. Okay, there we go. Make that cock. Unhide my. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to rotate it in the Y direction to then again give me a. There we go. To give me the loop, and then yeah, I'm going to do that. Copy it, rotate it 3 times. Where is, oh, well, first off, nope, what am I missing here? Oh, this needs to be, I think I'm looking at this wrong. There we go. This needs to be like that. Copy it again. Do 3 more. then, nope, used to be over here. Then one more. And then you can see we've created a really thin violet swirly loop. And this one goes the opposite direction from that one because we entered in a negative value for the altitude. So you can see that one thing you have to be careful of is making sure you know which direction the tiles go. So I believe the ones down here at the very bottom you should be able to look at fairly closely. And you can see there in the 3D view that if you were flying along this direction, you'd go up the ramp and drop down, as opposed to coming this direction and you'd run into it and be blocked. So you this on this loop, on both of these loops, you would enter the loop from this direction, and this one would go one way, this one would go the other way. So that's kind of how you change that. So you can mess with the parameters, make the violet swirly loops. You know, these take a lot of testing, where you just have to continually make a new loop, test it. Is this what I want? Yes, no, remake loop. It can get complicated, but that's the basics of how to make your favorite violet swirly loops. Yep. So there you go. Have a good day.